This is Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year.
In a given year.
We then discuss memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and
more.
I'm Brad.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Gif.
Wow. And who else is here with us tonight?
I'm Dave.
Yes.
Woo-hoo!
Doing it again. So,
Talkerson, you didn't jump in on and I'm Dave. What's going on?
Well, I didn't know how you're going to do it, man.
Man,
you know, we're not as familiar with your intro as we are with Gifts.
We are in the middle of a topic that we love so much that we're doing it twice.
Right.
So, due to circumstances that were sad and bad, we have been talking about the Foo Fighters last week, but we hopefully were positive and talked about all our happy memories. Yeah. Hopefully they're not done either. That's the other part.
That's right.
But the other reason why Pete and I both picked this topic is because in this year of 1999, we're going to stick to our year more tonight. This is when the album There Is Nothing Left to Lose came out, and this was Taylor Hawkins' first album with the band. Also the first album to win a Grammy.
Yep.
I mean, this is a great album to talk about and to get into the band with here, regardless of any other circumstances, but it fits especially well just because we're doing 1999 by chance.
Mm-hmm. Not good circumstances for Franz, though.
No, not Franz Stahl or William Goldsmith, who got kicked out earlier.
That's true, yep. Yeah.
Gifford, you know your Foo Fighters history.
That's all I got. I'm done. I'll see you guys
next week. Say here, Gifford, you say this every time.
I know.
You're like, oh, I got nothing. I'm such an idiot. And then all of a sudden you blow us away. You blow the doors off during the podcast.
Just wait till you hear his thoughts about stacked actors coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. But speaking of Franz Stahl, as I mentioned last week, I have Franz Stahl's autograph in my basement. So
lucky.
And it's the one that I can really read too. Dave's actually, I think, just is a heart and says Dave.
That's how our Dave signs his stuff.
Yeah. It is. It's how I sign my checks.
Big D, small A, big V, small I,
and the little star at the end.
It's a little.
Yep.
You can't have
that up front.
That's the wrong episode.
All right, so we talked about how all of us love the color and the shape, including newbie to the Foo Fighters GIF last week. Mm-hmm. It was full of hits. We all fell in love with them, and seeing them in concert really just nailed it for most of us. But so this was the next album. This was highly anticipated because this is now they're like a legitimate band. Mm-hmm. Going from the first album, which was just Dave, to the second album, there's a lot going on. But now it's like album number 3. What do you do now? And that's a big deal for a lot of bands. So I'll just quickly mention a couple things here. So the single Learn to Fly, not Tom Petty. Learn to Fly came out in September of 1999, and this was a great song, obviously, with a great, great video. Dave, who's in the video that you love?
Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Gass and JB and KG.
So that came out early to Whet Your Appetite. The album came out on November 2nd of 1999, and I remember this. This is the first CD for me that I actually bought, in the store. I mentioned one I got a burned copy of, and one was like an advance promo copy that I was given, so I just didn't have to buy it because of that. I couldn't wait to go buy this. I couldn't wait to listen to it. I remember putting it in right away and listening to it, and I loved it right away. I remember talking about it specifically with you, Dave, and your wife, Sonia, who I remember loving it. I know she loved the song Gimme Stitches. That's a memory I have. So it was great, and it solidified the band to me while providing a little bit of a different sound. This is the lightest record of the 10, right, guys? You agree?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Medicine at Midnight and even Sonic Highways both have a little bit of a similar feel in that they kind of jump around a little bit, or they get a little lighter.
I guess, yeah, I can see
I was going to ask you real quick, Brad, where were you living when you had
I was living in Bloomington, right across the way from you.
I know.
Which we actually talked about in our episode that'll be coming out this Monday.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
But
Is
yeah,
that
we
the
talked
place?
about you, Dave. We talked about watching football games and how great that was that we were all so close.
Is that
That
the
was
place?
a good sneak preview of the episode that was released 2 weeks ago.
Right.
You know, in podcast world, time doesn't move the.
Yeah, there is no time.
Right. Is that the place that you needed to take your cologne out of your pocket before you play
No,
basketball?
that was Burnsville.
No, no,
Oh, that was
Burnsville.
Burnsville.
Baby.
Okay.
That's Stone Grove. That's when you're like 8 years old, but you might dunk it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I guess to me, this album is it's just chill, and they recorded it in their garage, and it just sounds like three guys, a small band, who are just coming together, and
It was definitely got a laid back vibe.
just got that laid back vibe, and it starts off with the heavy stuff right off the bat,
Yep.
but by the end, it's just you just are just engrossed in this great feel, and it's Dave and it's Taylor Hawkins and it's Nate, and it's just this band coming together, and I love it. And like I said, they won a Grammy. They won 2 Grammys for this album. And while Chris Shiflett isn't on the album, he joined right around this time. And so going on tour, it is like the core of the band that is going to be there for the rest of time after that.
He's in 2 of their videos for this.
And he's even in just like Taylor was in like an Everlong and in some of those.
Yeah, he's in
videos.
Everlong and Monkey Wrench and yep.
So that is a little overview. Do you guys have any other like stats or background or overall thoughts on the album you want to share?
I just have a comment. In this era, I want to know if you guys thought the same thing I did, that you would never think today, of course. Did you guys ever think that early Dave Grohl looked like Matthew Broderick?
No,
I remember
haven't.
I used to think that.
But he had the short
back
hair
in
at this time, which
yeah,
I like.
exactly.
The
He had a short hair and he looked so young and everything. I thought he looked like Matthew Broderick at the time, and still, like it still hits me a little bit when I go back to those.
Maybe
nowadays you see Dave Grohl today, you're not going, is that Matthew Broderick over there?
I can't see so well.
Trombone. Maybe if he took off the goatee, I could. I mean, I
well,
kind of
in this era, you know. Well, like in the Learn to Fly video when he looks.
I have to say that in this, when you talk about the look, so I've got
I wish he'd cut it again at least once.
What's that?
I wish he'd cut it again just for a while once.
I have a concert DVD. It's called Anywhere But Home, and it comes out right around the time One by One comes out. But it's very heavy with this album. There's a lot of songs from this album that are on that. And they still look like they looked in those videos. So they do. Dave's got the short hair, everything. And to me, like from a looks, from a band image wise, that's my kind of my favorite look that they had over the years. Is that I thought they just looked kind of cool back then.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
But the only other thing I'll throw out there, Brad, on this one, and just getting into, sounds like you guys talked about some 1999 memories and everything.
Well, yeah, if you have a few memories you want to share, go ahead and do it.
I just have one distinct one, and then I'll just revisit that concert real quick. But I do remember when this came out, and I'm not as big a music guy as you guys are. But I remember this album coming out and just being really excited for it. When I heard it, I was so like pleasantly surprised of just thinking like, it's great. For me, Color and the Shape is a no questions asked desert island album. Top 5. That and Purple Rain are the only 2 I don't have to think about. But then I thought, okay, this is great. It came out. I love the songs, but it's not a repeat, right? It goes in a different direction. So already I was just really stoked on it. And then there was a night, and the reason I remember the whole Devonshire thing, I remember there being a night where, we're all younger and everything. We're going to go out one night, go bar hopping. I remember coming over to your guys' place. Like we kind of pre-gamed over at your guys' place, and you guys put this album on. I think, I know Mark was there for sure because he brought Tracy. But then there were a handful of people there, and I just remembered sitting there, we're listening to the album and just thinking, I thought to myself, I had heard once that somebody described Van Halen as like the ultimate barbecue band. Like you could just throw them on at a barbecue and everyone would love them. And
everybody, okay.
well, and except for maybe Chris, but but I do remember I remember having the memory of I was sitting there, we're listening to this album, I'm having fun, just hanging out with you guys, and thinking like, this is what they're talking about when they talk about that kind of thing. Like this music is just blending in and just making everything better.
That is so funny that you say that, because I guarantee you I'm thinking of the exact same night, because I remember a party at our, like a small whatever.
Yep.
Right after this came out and playing and listening to this with those people that you just mentioned there. We're thinking of the exact same night.
And this album, and that's one thing is I will say, out of all the albums, and when we ranked them, I had this in the middle. I do think this is the best album for if you were just to have like a room full of people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Throw this on in the background, and
because it doesn't have a lot of the screaming.
Yeah, people would love it. You know,
especially the back end. This is the album that I could put on in the car with my wife and most likely get through, because it's, you know, it's the lightest. It's the chillest.
I'll try it out on my family and see how it goes. I'll let you know.
You got to get it in that car, Pete. You got to get it in that car.
Probably want to skip the first two songs, though. Maybe, I guess, just to be
but
safe.
I can't skip the first two.
I know,
because
Breakout,
skip the
Breakout
first two
is my
songs.
favorite. One of my favorite songs.
I agree. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just on if you're trying to get them, you know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, Breakout is a top 5 Foo Fighters songs to me, and that was, again, they were solidified from the last album and the concert for me. But when this came out, again, like you said, it was kind of like this newer sound. And would you still like them just as much? And that is the song that I loved right off the bat and love to this day. It's so good. So,
but yeah, the only other thing would just be that concert. And like, again, it was one of the more disappointing concerts I went to, but it had everything to do with they weren't the headliners, so they didn't play that long a set list.
Yeah.
And I remembered walking out of there.
I have the set list here if you want to know it too.
Yeah, like why weren't they the
pissed.
headliners? I remember just being really pissed. I mean, some of it was I was pissed because of Anthony Kiedis and the whole disappointment of him.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers were bigger at the time, for sure.
No, I know, but again, that was the one memory I had leaving that concert of like, why didn't they headline this?
They played 12.
Yeah, I remember. You know what? Here's what I actually remember about that night. I just remembered. We got back to the apartment, and I said to Brad, I said, they should have been the headliner that night. And you were like, the Foo Fighters, they'll never sell out an arena like that.
I said that.
You said that. Yes.
I think you have a mismemory.
Oh,
there.
you just know
that's
everything.
what you said.
Oh, look at
They're
me!
They're not going to sell out the Target Center.
Well, maybe I said at that time they weren't going to.
That's what
sell it out,
yeah, I know.
was
I know.
true.
It made sense
Okay.
at the time.
What do you
But
think?
in
You framed that
retrospect,
piece.
it's preposterous.
Who do you think the singer of this band is? Bono. Oh,
By the way, that night
what a dumb prediction, Pete.
they played Alone and Easy Target that night. We heard that in concert.
Oh, did they?
Just
Maybe
really,
that's
really
why you
quick.
love it so much.
I guess
They
I don't
played
remember.
Monkey Wrench, Learn to Fly, My Hero, For All the Cows. Awesome. Breakout, Big Me, Stacked Actors, Aurora, I'll Stick Around, Alone and Easy Target, Everlong, and This Is a Call. So
You
pretty
wanna-
That's
great
a pretty
12-song
sweet set list. That is
Yeah.
a really good set list right there.
Want to hear something really dumb? Because I never owned the Foo Fighters album, I dubbed it from somebody, and I
Dave.
accidentally didn't dub the whole thing. When they played For All the Cows, I thought they were doing a cover of somebody else's song. I was
Oh.
like, wow, what is this song?
Dave, you're so dumb.
Dumb.
Knew it.
Hey, Giff, do you have anything about this album overall? Do you have any stats? You're the stats guy.
I didn't write anything down in the stats. I figured we got 3 bona fide fans of the band. They would cover all of it. So no, I did
Different-
not.
Bonerfied?
Gifford
throw
gets
down
into the
anything.
saber metrics of the Foo Fighters.
Well, the one thing I will say that you haven't said yet, this was recorded. This was the first album that was recorded in the Studio 606
Yes.
in
Virginia.
Grohl's
Virginia.
new Virginia home.
Yep.
And it was, like I said, just like hanging out in your garage, just playing, just figuring it out.
And Grohl has said that when he listens to this album, that
It's
this is the one that takes him back to that time where it was just three guys hanging out, doing their thing. It was the most fun. He remembers, the house, the smell of the basement, just everything from the recording of this album.
Yeah, he said
We
it may
are-
be his favorite album that they've recorded. And I guess I wonder if that means the recording of it or the album itself. I guess you could look at that two ways, but
I would guess the
Probably
recording, of it. Yeah.
Someday we're going to feel the same about this podcast after we're world famous. We're going to look back on these, little recordings here. And
Well,
think,
I
"Wow,
feel
that's where
right
it all
now
began."
this may be the best recording we've ever done. I feel it in the moment.
This is this is
Right now.
that's how
Right.
I felt about the Foo Fighters.
this
when we
is
was
as good as we
finished.
got.
Yes. All
All right, let's-
downhill from here, boys.
Shall we get into the album and say what we think of the songs?
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
All
what
right,
we're
so
here to
this
do.
album starts off by melting your face with
Yes,
stacked
it
actors.
does.
Yes.
Well, real quick, when it comes to these albums, do you not see a pattern of? I feel like
Yeah.
they
A face
front-load
melting
three bangers at in every album almost.
They
Not
they
quite.
do, and they have. Well, when we did our the one that I did with Playlist Wars, Brian Colburn brought up how they are so good at that first single,
First single. Yep.
and that is usually one of the first one or two songs on the album, so that's part of it. But so that ties right into that point that they know how to get you right there.
Well, and again, I do think just in general, their albums in general, they're really good at figuring out how to get the right mix there and not put in filler. And because if you ever listen to any of these extended versions of their albums, it's funny. Like you go a song or two beyond what they were going to put on there, and you go, "Oh yeah, if this would have been on there, So I just think they're really smart about
Yeah.
that.
There are some, since you brought that up, if the one by one extended version, some of those, there are some pretty awesome extra songs off of that one.
Well,
actually, two are covers actually, and Chris Shiflett sings them, and those are like ones I didn't really know much until recently, and God, they're awesome.
And sometimes you can find some of these, like if you, at least the service I go on, they have all these albums now that look like little
Yeah, that's where we finally
library.
got the one.
Yeah.
They've released all that stuff.
And so some of those songs I really love. Some of them I go, yeah, it's a good thing this wasn't on an album.
They're not all great, but there's some good stuff in there if you go through it.
But there's
some really cool covers.
Yeah, they don't get, I would say they don't get overly indulgent on albums.
True.
Yeah.
All right, so stacked actors. So I don't know what you guys wrote for all these. I did find this one website where it had like little quotes by Dave Grohl about every song, which I don't know how accurate it was. So
Let's go with it.
How great would it be if they were fake quotes?
but stacked actors seems
If
pretty
they're
clearly
not,
about the plastic and the phoniness of Hollywood, and I guess Dave Grohl really hates actors.
There's a few
that.
songs where he has references to actors throughout
Which is
different
funny
albums.
because he loves to act and is good at it.
He
Like,
is an
his
actor.
videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he hates them unless they're Jack Black.
yeah.
So,
But
Or
easily to me the heaviest
Or
song
Christopher
on the
Walken.
yes.
Sorry, go on.
and it's what you'd expect. I think the beginning of this record is a great transition from the color and the shape to what is then at the end of the album. It gives you the harder stuff at first that you expect before it mellows out more towards the end.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Well, in this song, as a guy who's relatively new to the Foo Fighters, the thing I wrote down is so typical of one of their songs. You got that whispering voice in the
Quiet
verses,
loud.
and then it's just wham! It just nails you right in the chorus.
God
and
damn, I love me some Quiet Loud.
Yes.
Nails you right in the chorus.
Yep. Absolutely.
I wrote a few lyrics down for most of these too. I don't know if you guys did that. But some of these lyrics, I love the line, "I'm impressed, what a beautiful chest." Speaking of the fake.
Yes.
What do you do when you're just another aging drag queen? That sounds so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, just stacked dead actors, stacked to the rafters, line up all the bastards, and we cry when they all die blonde. That's just awesome.
It kind of sounds like a rap when you do it, Brad.
That's what I'm known for.
Yo.
Yo, you're like the
So-
Jesse Pinkman of this group, Brad.
I think that's a favorite song of many people. Do you guys have anything you're to add to that one?
So I'll just
No.
throw out there
Okay.
that when I listen to this album now, it's actually one of the ones that I have on the. Then again, when I say this, I'm not saying I dislike the song. I like the song,
Ooh,
but
interesting.
of the 11 songs on here, I have this ranked as number 9.
Wow,
Okay.
Ooh.
that's
I
a
have it
surprise.
as one of the songs that I really like on the album.
Yeah,
This
I love
this
it.
was on a Guitar Hero version. I think maybe like Guitar Hero 3. So it's a fun one it was fun to play on there.
That surprises me a lot because I thought you like a lot of the harder stuff, Dave. So I would have thought that'd been one of your.
I do. I don't know what it is about this one. Yeah, on that Anywhere But Home DVD I have, they play this and they play a way too long version of it. Like they extend it to like almost 10 minutes. I don't know if that affected it or what. But there's just like the other stuff on here I like a lot better.
Sure.
Anybody else? Pete, you got any comments on this one?
No, I got nothing to add. I just I
Are
think
you a
it's
fan of
great-
it?
I am. It's a great lead-off hitter song, is what I had in my notes.
There you go.
Like you said, it melts your face off right off the bat, and then you do get into the next one, which you're about to bring up. But the next one is hands down my favorite song.
Well,
on
you
this
go
album.
ahead and talk about that one first, then.
All right. Well, that next song is Breakout. I watched the video on YouTube as I was preparing for this episode. It's not a video that you've seen as much or that they've showed as much as Learn to Fly and the Mentos one. But this one's it's a hilarious watch. So it's enjoyable. It has that date that kind of starts out bad and it keeps promoting. It's a promo for that Jim Carrey movie. What was that?
Me,
movie?
myself,
Me,
and
myself,
Irene.
and
Yes,
Irene,
me,
yeah.
myself, and Irene. Right. But this song, I mean, it just goes back and forth a little bit, melts your face, and then it kind of goes back to, it's. I'm at a loss for words here.
Well,
it's
like you said, back
sing alongable lyrics, I guess.
Yeah, it's got a good
It's like
rhythm.
little-
It's
good rhythm.
They've got these good bangers that are melodic that you sing along with, but then there's also the
Yes.
screaming in it as well. And when he mixes them just right,
That's
they're
what I-
gold.
that's what
And
I'm
this is
trying to
one
get
of the
at.
best ones to me because you
And
can
it's
totally
like-
sing along. It's a sing along, but you can also scream.
You
and
can
it's-
scream along with it, yes,
Right.
and you'll lose your voice. I lose my voice on this song because I'm screaming so loud.
Well, speaking of
car.
that, the thing on this one I found was that when they were recording this one, Dave said the band had to tell him to tone it down because the neighbors were giving dirty looks and threatening to complain that someone was getting murdered. So,
Oh. All right.
so his throat was gone after that, man, and he had to tone it down.
They
So-
think they really thought that neighbors were getting murdered when they know that their next door neighbor is Dave Grohl and they're practicing whatever.
Well, have
Go
you
on.
seen Studio 666?
yeah, have you?
Oh, I guess you're right. I have not seen that yet, but I heard it's fantastic.
And I wonder, that too. I'm so glad I saw it before because I wonder, would you even want to watch it now?
Well,
and it's
Watching it again, because that movie is gory, I do like. It's tough to know that there's some
I
of those
know.
images in there.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Yeah.
oh, it's tragic.
Yes, it is.
But this is also kind of a takeoff. So the word breakout, he's referring to like breaking out and like acne, and he thought
Right.
that would be like funny. But I mean, it just has so many meanings behind it. I think.
Yeah.
Quintessential Foo Fighters song is what I described it as for me.
I love this song. It's number 3 on this album for me.
Nice.
Excellent.
I may be crazy, a little frayed around the ends. One of these days, I'll phase you out. I like that. And then it just keeps going.
You
Yeah.
love a good word amusement. This
goes
is
on.
this is my second favorite song on the album.
And we don't know what your number 1 is yet, right? It wasn't.
Not well. You would if
Is it-
you remember my top 10
Oh, okay.
list.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you listen to my list and me talk, there's so many inconsistencies in the way that I talk about the favorite songs because I'm sure that I put a list together where I was like, Breakout's not even anywhere on my list. And then it's like, oh my God, it's a
You can make a different list every day and change it every day.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
It keeps changing. That's what's so great about this.
All right, are we on to Learn to Fly now?
Yes.
Yes.
So Learn to Fly. When we were looking at videos, I sent out the video. You mentioned the Rockin' 1000, and I had seen that before and forgot about it, and I watched it again, and man, that is awesome. We'll probably post that somewhere if people haven't seen it. So Gifford, you got sucked in. I got sucked in.
Oh my God.
Not knowing that this group like put out all these other ones and like has their own concerts now and so many cool songs. So it's amazing. And they did it to try to entice them to come, and it worked. So all we got to do is get 1,000 of our friends to put together a band and learn how to play one of their songs, and we'll get them.
Right. Well, and for those who don't know, it's literally people in a stadium filling up the infield of a stadium. It's 1,000.
This one, they're just out in the field.
Right.
It's outdoors. It's like on a soccer
Oh, that's
field.
right. This one,
Bunch
this
of
one's just out in
drummers,
the
bunch
field.
of bassists, bunch of guitarists.
So they got like
It's
hundreds
fun
of
to
drummers,
watch.
and they're all just in tune,
They're
perfectly together.
perfect synchronization. It's just amazing.
But it's also just so much fun to see how much fun they're having playing it. Like
You
that's
cannot not smile.
And that is and this song out of all Foo Fighters songs. So times like these makes me feel really good again because of like it makes me think of my daughter. But this song is just one of those like when it came out, how like when I'll never listen to this and not just have a big smile on my face. I just think this is, to me, this is like their most optimistic song.
And it's about the search for inspiration and signs of life that make you feel alive. That's the quote here. So that's perfect.
Well, and then you
Do you know
combined
what,
it
though?
with
Do you know what it's
with
really-
the video.
The inspiration of the song,
And then-
though, do you know why he wrote this song? Very simple. He has said that if he wasn't a musician, he would want to be a pilot. He's always wanted to be a pilot.
Oh.
And that's simply put, that was just sort of the inspiration for the song itself.
Okay.
And he even said he actually saw I saw he was on the Kelly Clarkson show, and my wife found it, came across it on Facebook or something, and she played it for me. It was a good interview, but he said, everyone's looking for all the different meanings in this song, and he's like, very simply, I just wanted to be a pilot.
Sure.
That was what the basis for this song is.
So, Dave, do you have this as your favorite?
Nope. Or yes, sorry. Yes.
Oh.
Number one.
See, and I have a hard time ranking this one. I would not put it as one of my favorites. It's one of those that, again, kind of where it's maybe been overplayed, but not in a bad way. Like you can't not enjoy it when it's on.
Right.
But even I found Dave Grohl said it was one of his least favorite songs on the record, according to what I read. I wouldn't describe it as my least favorite, but I don't know. It's just maybe because I've heard it too much. I would almost skip over it because there's so many other songs.
I would never skip over it.
I mean, I wouldn't really. No, I would not skip anything.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. No, I
Check
can't
out
do it.
Bono over here skipping songs.
But I don't know where to rank it because it's great and it was great. But now at this point, there's all these other ones. I don't even know where I'd put it.
Brad, you and I have talked about this tons of times about Everlong.
It's like with Everlong
at concerts. What I will say is, like with Everlong, and there again, and especially, so this kind of fits with that too. Of especially when I started showing this to my kids, like showing the kids the Foo Fighters videos and stuff like that. It brought back a love for Everlong to me. Of like when you watch the video for Everlong, like even just how the camera's going up the staircase and there's all those pictures of him and Taylor as a couple, like having Sundays together,
and they just met at that time. God damn.
Like, but and that like it's just there's so much in there to love, and that's the thing is like, have I heard that a million times? Would I be excited if they played it in concert? Probably not. Like I'd still love it and everything, but there's like so much more I'd love to hear in concert. That being said, so unlike Everlong, I never grew tired of this song, and it has.
I wouldn't even say I'm tired of it. I don't even know what I think anymore.
I think at one point I was tired of Everlong, but that changed again. Being able to relook at it.
Sure.
So, And that's the thing is it's the optimism in this song that just makes me always feel great.
And watching that video of the Rockin' 1000 made me love it even more again too.
Save me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're just having so much fun. Yeah.
And for me, one of the great parts of this song is the drum beat, the drum line in it. So when you see that 1,000-person band and all the drummers,
It's got to be the hardest part.
Perfect synchronization.
Yeah.
It kind of, reignited the love for the song. So,
So I have on the next song, like when I was listening to today, the drums really stood out to me. And this isn't like a hard song, but Gimme Stitches is number 4. Mm-hmm. And there's just some really hard like drum sounds in there that just stand out. And that's where I'm like, God, there it is right there. And this the first time I really got it on this album of those songs. And I loved how it stood out. So this is about a relationship that's dysfunctional. Two people that keep hurting each other and making each other crazy. Give me stitches, I'm going to get my blood on you. And I love this song too. It's great.
This is a really great one. And see, what I had on this one was the guitar riff to start is just awesome.
Yeah. There's like a drum fill right after that. I think that's where it
It reminds me of so this is where, to me, this is where the album kind of announces what it is, because I feel like this is like a throwback, like almost like a 70s rock album. And this is like, I mean, this could have been like the opening riff to like Dazed and Confused. Like the cars going through the, through the parking lot, and it's bam, 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 bam,
there it is.
And that's the thing is, the minute this song came on, I had not listened to this in forever, and I'm like, oh shit, this is like, I love this song.
Yeah, I did that like 5 times on this album because this album somehow got kind of pushed aside for me for some reason.
Yeah,
but like you said, Dave, the first 3 songs are those great songs that really they're Foo Fighters songs. But then at this point, this is the album now.
This tells you what the vibe is going to be.
It shifts.
Yeah, yeah. So I love it.
For me, this is the last great one for me. I know you guys are saying this is where the album sets in. I know. But the first 4 songs on this album are just so great to me that's enough for me.
Kindly leave.
See ya.
Because this is where to me, this is where the album starts to settle in, and it just gets better. And every song is like, oh yeah, there's this song, and this song is great.
Yep.
And I think it's because it's different, and it's not the same. And for you, Giff, I don't know, you're not as used to all their other stuff.
Well, and so when I listened to all the albums, I listened to them 1 through 10, and then I went back and listened to this one again to take more notes on it. And the songs, 5 through 11 are a lot softer, a little more poppy.
And see, I texted you and predicted you would love this album because I was thinking you would like that better. But then you said you like the harder stuff better, which so I
throwing you a curveball.
You're contradicting yourself here.
Yep.
Joe Boo can't hit the curveball.
No, he's not. I get it now.
Oh, all right, I get it.
Pete, give me stitches.
Where are we at? Yeah, this was actually, I didn't have this. I had about 2 or 3 songs where I had written down sneaky favorite. But that was not one of them, but it was still just a very good time. We're going to get there. Get there.
I can't wait to hear what's sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky good. Sneaky good. But
all right,
it was what it was. Go on.
So now they go to the generator, not the generator.
This is one that I had as a sneaky favorite.
Yeah, well, see, and Generator is cool because he starts with the Peter Frampton talk box.
Yeah, the vocoder or something like that.
Which I don't think they use that hardly ever outside of this, and it's cool.
Can you do your best impression of it?
Is this a thing?
Oh, Charlie Brown's teacher.
Well, now, did you watch the video though on YouTube? Because for these ones where I could, I watched the video on YouTube.
There's a video for this?
It's a thing. Well, it's not a video, but it's just an in concert thing.
Oh, okay.
And he's got like it's inside his mouth, and it's like his cheek is sticking out, so it's clearly something weird that's in his mouth. Is that
just
what
a
that
tube
is?
that goes
Wah,
up
wah,
in
wah,
his
wah,
mouth.
wah, 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 wah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, he's able to use it, and he's able to like sing regularly back and forth, and that's what was unusual about it. So I enjoyed it.
The
Sneaky
quote
good
I found
song.
on this one is that he said it's everything he likes about the band. Melancholy pop punk and weird classic rock in it.
Yeah,
Wow.
I could see that.
And I don't really have any notes other than just I really like this song, and that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, this was Give
What
Me
more do you
Stitches
need?
was my 5th ranked, and then this was number 6.
So Gifford, you're out now.
I'm kind of out. You know, I didn't mind the talk box, you know, as a Frampton guy. But compared to the first 4, it's kind of downhill for me from here on out and the rest of the album. There's other
Interesting.
stuff I have for the rest of the songs, but
Because
you know, it
number
doesn't compare to
6,
the first 4.
Aurora is one that I seem to read online. I think is one of the favorite songs of like fans in the catalog. Like this is this is like the song you have to love if you're a Foo Fighters fan.
So
for those who celebrate
the Foo
the entire
Fighters fans
catalog.
are not going to like me then, because this
Uh-oh.
was probably my least favorite song on the album. Not
Really?
that means a bad song, but it's in comparison to the other ones, I thought this was nothing to write home about.
Well, you know what, Pete? Dave Grohl said Aurora is definitely one of my favorite songs we've ever come up with.
Well, do you know what? We're going to have
See?
Dave Grohl on the show. Let's get him
Let's
on.
switch out Dave's.
And
Explain
let's
yourself.
argue. Yeah.
Pete, I'm gonna jump on that sword with you here, and I just have it's not my fave. It's just too soft.
I really
it
like
is.
it. So this is
It
number
is
4.
chill. I had it's
The
a
reason
chill
why it's
song.
soft is because it's nostalgic, and we love nostalgia. He's looking back on Seattle and his old life in Seattle, and that's, you know, it's nice.
Oh my God! Now that you've explained it to me, I love it.
I had
Dave.
this right behind Breakout, but here's what I'll say. What you were saying. So for Christmas, for a bunch of different people, I made like these little. They do that thing on KFan, the Duel of the Decades, and where they pit 2 things, right?
Yep.
And so you listen to.
Oh yeah, right.
So for the girls, I made a Foo Fighters versus 21 Pilots list, and the way I make these is I'll look them up and I'll say what are their biggest charting hits, but then I'll also kind of try to read a couple articles about what are fans' favorite songs and everything else. And so I saw a Rolling Stones poll where, or Rolling Stone magazine poll, where I want to say that Aurora was ranked by fans as like the number 5 overall song. And I was kind of blown away by that, because I wouldn't. I like the song a lot. I would not put it that high.
No, and I wouldn't have really thought that unless I had read it like you did. I mean, I wrote down it's a beautiful song. I really love it, but it is slow, and if you're not into that, then you're not going to like it. But
I will say, back at the time when this came out, I think this might have been my favorite, outside of Learn to Fly, my favorite song on here.
Yeah.
I listening to it now, I do have it 4, but I will say there are other songs. Give Me Stitches and Generator are both ones that I like almost as much.
Yeah. I would have so you guys kind of rank these. I'd have a really hard time ranking these songs on this album. I don't even know where I'd start.
So too.
And speaking of that, number 7 is Live in Skin. And this is one that I didn't have on like my non-singles list, but when I listened to it, God, I love this song. This is a great song. So it would be high up there. He wrote, my quote here is, "Wow, this is kind of a cool tune." And I started writing about the place that the band is in now. So he liked it too.
Well, and for me, it was a tick up from the last one because it was a little harder.
Yeah, it's not as slow.
Yep. So I
just like to turn your insides out to the outside, turn the outside into the inside. And just it goes on like that. I can't change back for you. I know I can't change back for you. I love that chorus. The way it's so good.
This one sounded to me, I had written down, this sounded a little bit more traditional, like a traditional Foo Fighters song.
Right.
You know, compared to some of the other ones, which are a little slower, a little softer, maybe, but this was kind of back to what I guess you could say characterizes the Foo Fighters more so. Anyway,
Dave?
go on.
Yeah, I mean,
David.
I'll kind of put this in the middle there too. I do like this song a lot. But yeah, I had this below a lot of the other songs. This was 8 for me.
All right. So the next one I found interesting because this is Next Year, which I have always loved. I think this is like the prettiest song they've written. And it was, we've talked about the show Ed on here. It was the theme song for the show Ed.
Okay.
Really?
But here's the quote I found by Dave Grohl. Next Year is a piece of shit. That song is so stupid. It's weird. I don't get it. I love it. It reminds me of
too.
It reminds me of Rocket Man by Elton John. Just this, and well, the whole he's in the sky.
Yeah,
it's an astronaut thing. When if you watch the video there, it's they're on the moon and it's like they're going back and forth to the Houston Control Center.
It's like Forrest Gump.
It's an outer space astronauts. Yeah, it is.
It's like it's the real footage of the moon landing, but they're put in there and everything. And I love when they're listening to the president and all that. And
I just love it. And it's another one that it's a slow song, but it has this great drum fill by Taylor. It's another one where I heard Taylor Hawkins playing, and like there's this great little fill
down at the end. Then you
early on in the beginning too, but
yeah.
So I don't know.
This was my other sneaky favorite, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah, I love this song too. Their greatest hits album had a video disc with it, so it was all the video. So 2 songs we hadn't really talked about much yet. This and Walking After You. They made videos for both of those songs, and when I think about their slower
videos for that one, maybe even.
Well, and what I will say is on the Walking After You one for sure. The melodies are slightly different than the album.
There's like an X-Files version. There's like
and it's beautiful. That's a great both
song.
Of those songs, they're 2 of my favorite like slow songs of theirs. And if I were just to make a quick or a little thing here, I'll just jump ahead real quick. The last 2 songs are probably they're my last 2 ranked songs on here. To make this album perfect, I would have put Headwires up ahead of this and ended with Next Year.
I get it.
I can take or leave the last 2.
So
and it doesn't mean I don't like those songs, but they're just, if it would have ended that way, I'd have been like, this is brilliant.
Did you hate this one, Gifford?
I have that it's just too poppy. It sounds like a Goo Goo Dolls song.
Yeah. I
can't believe Dave already
say that.
Already gone.
It is the kind of song that could get played more on the radio as a more poppy type of song.
What is this Iris stuff?
But see, that's what I think about Learn to Fly too. Is that's much more poppy.
It is. It's very poppy.
But that one people like and.
Yep.
Gifford, not since Testes have I reacted so strongly to something you have said.
That is one of the highlights of my time on this podcast is your laugh when I said Testes. It's that surprised.
I cannot believe that
gleeful laugh. It was just the best.
I think you're referring to our Breaking Bad episode. If people want to go back and listen to that.
Yes, listen to the Breaking Bad. Listen for Dave's laugh after I bring up the show Testes.
Which I still believe is fake.
So you did jump ahead, and the song Headwires is next. And again, this is another one today I'm listening to like, this is awesome. I love this song. And here's what I love about this. So one of the things I love, but Wasting Light comes out, and they've got this great song, Arlandria.
Arlandria, yep.
And I listened to this record like sometime after that. And I'm listening to it, and they're like singing, and there's this line, "The sun is on Arlandria." I'm like, wait a minute, that's this. And I had never really registered it from this song because why would you? But then you hear it in the other one, and now it's like an Easter egg almost to me.
Yep.
And 12 years later, they wrote that great song. And
they used to sell a shirt on their website that said it was a picture of Virginia. And it said Arlandria is for lovers.
Yeah, because it's a place. Which I didn't really know at the time. I had learned that through Twitter as well, that he's referring to a city or a neighborhood or something
Right.
around where he lived. But I love this song.
Well, this was on my set list of non-hits.
I heard it.
Yeah. And
Pete?
so this
Sneaky
is
Good?
my number 2.
No, not Sneaky Good. I actually did not have this one as one of my favorite songs on the album.
Oh boy.
So sorry.
Gifford?
Maybe I'll go back and listen to it again. Maybe I'll hear it tomorrow and think, wow, this is great. I don't know. But
Well, and I really like the chorus in this song. I wasn't crazy about the verses. So there were parts of it that I really enjoyed, but it wasn't one of my faves.
All right. So 10 is Ain't It the Life? And here's the quote here. This is what happens when you listen to too much mellow 70s gold Fleetwood Mac type stuff while recording. It sounds like an Eagles song or something, and I hate the Eagles. But it's about living the quiet, peaceful Virginia life. And I wrote, maybe this is their Eagles record. That's okay. I love the Eagles. Lots of people do. And this is their Eagles record.
I had that this I thought
like
it sounded
it's a
like
pretty
Neil
song.
Young. I thought it sounded like Neil Young, not the Eagles. That's what I had written down.
Okay.
But it's probably the same. It's in the same vein though of what you just said.
But it's kind of a sarcastic song because it refers kind of to privilege and success and how they've achieved this new level of success at the time. And so it's like, it is a great life, but it's also kind of making fun of it at the same time. I'm not going to apologize for liking these songs at the end. I love the vibe all the way through. I just kick back and it's great.
When I said that there's maybe I could count like the songs I could take or leave on Foo Fighter albums on one hand, this is on the list. It doesn't do anything for me.
And I'm not going to fight about it. It fits on this album to me. That's what I'm saying. As a song itself, I don't know if I like the song like particularly by itself, but it fits on the album just right.
You may not want to fight about this. But...
the one note I had on it was just it was too soft again. See, I was looking for more bangers. Yeah.
As he said himself, I guess.
Would you dare say it's kind of like a Chris Isaac song?
Oh,
gloves are coming off.
I would dare say it, and I would say that makes it better.
Dave, did you notice how red Brad's head got when you said that?
My go-to trolling for Brad.
Yeah. You know where to hit it. Well, speaking of fighting, Dave, let's hear. I swear to God that years ago, you thought MIA was one of the best Foo Fighters songs, and you loved it.
Well, no, I know that wouldn't be the case.
And so I'm so confused, and I want to hear what you had to say now.
I like this song. It's nothing about the song. It has everything to do with one of my favorite things about just all their albums is their last song. Yeah. The only other one that I would say like really doesn't do much for me, I think if I remember right, going through all of them, was Concrete and Gold's last song.
Oh, I don't like that one at all.
Yeah, but for the most part, the rest of them, and right around here. So like on the first album, Exhausted, which I never owned originally because I didn't dub the whole thing, but it was like now when I listen to that album, I love Exhausted. New Way Home and Come Back are both. So this is just one where I go. It's the one album in this little batch here where I go, they just didn't kill it at the end. Right?
I disagree.
It's an okay song, but I would have rather had Next Year as the last song.
Right. See, that's surprising.
You like the song, you're just not crazy about the placement of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great closer.
If it was up in the middle of the song, it'd be fine.
And when I looked up like more about the song, I loved it even more about being a closer because it's about, I mean, it's MIA, so he's like leaving and hiding, which is kind of fitting for the last song.
Sure.
But it's escaping reality, which kind of fits into the times right now. And I think a couple of us here would kind of agree that we fit in with that, where we like to escape things and hide from society.
Kind of kicked in 2020, yeah.
To escape this right now. No, I'm kidding.
But it's about the idea of disappearing and removing from people in society and finding relief. And I just think that's so fitting. And I think that's fitting for Dave Grohl at this time because he has disappeared. Like,
and he's struggling. I mean,
and
they are struggling.
what is he
at this
feeling
point
and doing right now? I don't
Yeah.
know. I want to know, but it's none of my business. But it's like he is going through this right now, and he's MIA, and he should be, and hopefully he's finding relief.
Well, and this is right around the time.
I just proved why that's a great song.
Yeah, if you watch Back and Forth, I think he's struggling at this point because they had just gotten rid of Franz, which I know was really tough for him. They had just gotten and why am I blanking on the first drummer's name?
William Goldsmith.
Like, so when you watch that documentary, at this point, he said, like, we went through some growing pains that most bands don't have to go through in the spotlight. And I do think, I mean, that's the thing is, I think he is a genuine, nice, like, fun-loving person. I'm sure that level of conflict was painful for him. Yeah. And then this is right around the time where they're talking about they're drinking more at the shows because they got to get up for these shows. Part of it, I mean, it's probably coming out of a place of like exhaustion.
Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know. I love this song. I think it's I think there's like of the 10 albums, I have 6 closers that I really, really love, and this is one of those.
Well, Twitter agrees with you, Brad.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but it won't when Elon Musk takes over.
Yeah. Now that we'll get some real patriotic voices there. Sorry.
Those are all Brad's burner accounts, by the way, Dave, that agree with him.
Yeah.
Yes. Those other podcasts that I run secretly.
Well, and I know everybody is dying to know my thoughts on it. I just wrote down that I like the chorus in the song. So it wasn't one of my faves. Like I said, the first 4 are all bangers to me, and but this one was an all right closer.
I can echo Gifford's comments. I didn't think that it stood out. It was just kind of plain Jane compared to the other songs on the album. Again, it's a very good song, but it just wasn't one of the best ones on the album for me.
Are you saying it was maybe MIA?
It may have been MIA. Oh, that's the beauty of the song. You just unlocked the secret.
Thank you.
So anyway, I don't know if you have any final thoughts, but after listening to this album over and over, I have moved it up in the. We did our rankings in the last episode, but I'm going to listen to this more often than I had been because this is one I'd kind of forgotten about, I think, in some way.
Just in general, this last month has made me go, I need to take time to listen to their albums through more often.
Well, and that is something I do. I usually, every once in a while, I'll go through like all of them, beginning to end. And
I'm not good with that. I'm usually kind of a singles person when it comes to music in general. So I'd always kind of, like in this one, I'd narrowed it down to about 4 songs that I listened to. It was Learn to Fly, Breakout, Generator, and Next Year. And then I listened to the whole album again, and I was like, oh, God. I mean, Headwires is a good example. I thought, I totally forgot about this song.
Right.
So,
anybody else?
I did have a general comment about the Foo Fighters that I had actually intended to say in the previous episode, but we didn't get to it because you guys wouldn't shut up. No, I'm kidding. It's just that you can, everybody has their own taste. And I actually put this on Facebook the day that I found out Taylor Hawkins died. You can not like the Foo Fighters music. That everybody has their own taste. It might be too heavy for a lot of people. It is not possible,
or not heavy enough for most people.
Or sure, whatever. But it is not possible to me to not like the Foo Fighters as people, because I think all. Yeah. Well, I mean, not even as artists. I mean, just that they're just such fun people.
Yes.
As human beings, and I think that. That's one thing, is that they are like a family, like we said earlier. Just so tragic about when you think about how fun of a guy Taylor Hawkins was and how awesome Dave Grohl was, and the other guys are great too. They're just awesome dudes.
Yeah, totally agree. That's another reason why his particular dying hurt so hard, because of the family aspect of the band.
Exactly. So. Anything more to say about the Foo Fighters? Otherwise, I think we're going to just break into our top music of 19.
Just want to say one more time, Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, so we decided to finish this off with our top music of the year, not just Foo Fighters alone, because this is what we do. So this is our episode to share our favorite music of 1999.
All right.
Pete,
So-
why don't you go first?
I'll kick us off. My number one, and I usually forget to do this, but I remembered on my list, I actually included what we had talked about. Number one, I had Breakout / Learn to Fly. Breakout of the two songs, and I put them on the same line. But Breakout is my more favorite song of the two. But at the time, what I was listening to in 1999, Learn to Fly was the one that was more familiar with myself as well as everybody else. Number two, the Offspring album came out. That was on my list. And that was the song that I had written down was Why Don't You Get a Job? I think that's a fun song. I like it. Pearl Jam came out. This might sound like a weird choice for Pearl Jam, but it played on the radio all the time. I love listening to it. Some people actually don't like it. I like their version of Last Kiss that was played constantly. Californication, but
Constantly.
well, sure, it was played a lot.
No, I get it. You're right.
It was played a lot.
And I enjoyed it every single time. And then the last one of my top five, I had Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that's my list. Thank you.
Gif?
All right. Well, I'm going to go next. So you guys, the last two will cover me up and people will forget what I said by the time we're done. So I didn't go with albums. I just went with some songs, and I didn't rank these. I just came up with some songs that I enjoyed from that year. So My Name Is by Eminem. That's always a good one.
I actually did have that one on my honorable mentions, but I just went with my top five. You're right. Good one.
Good deal. Overplayed song, but Smooth by Santana is still a good song. I like that song. Oh, Dave's liking that one too.
Feeling that.
Oh yeah.
Still Dre, another good one. I was a Sugar Ray fan. You know, the Every Morning
that's on
song
mine.
was
Every
a good one.
morning.
Of course, Learn to Fly, Foo Fighters. One song I always love hearing, and I have it on playlists. Steal My Sunshine by Len. I'm a sucker for that song.
On the Go soundtrack.
Yep.
Go.
Oh yeah,
We talked about Go
just
last week,
talked about
Dave.
Go. Yeah, we did.
I mean, it'll be on.
Sitting there just waiting to suck.
Dave, you know what? We appreciate your ability to see into the past. It's amazing.
I live somewhere in the ether of podcast time.
Excellent. And the last one I had, this has got to be one of Kenny Chesney's first songs, but She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy.
No, he goes way back to high school because we used to make fun of him because I said he looked
Chesney
like
does?
his mouth was like. Remember, Pete? He looked like he had been stung by
He got
bees.
stung by a bee. Yes.
Because his cheeks were big and.
So those are a few songs that I picked out from.
And the song I remember was called Tin Man. It was way back in like '94 or something.
Was it?
No. Tin Man was not Kenny Chesney, was it?
I think
Hold
so.
on.
I don't know.
I'm gonna
Whatever.
look it
This is
up.
too much Kenny Chesney talk.
Right.
I'm going to go
ahead.
next and let Dave go last because he's special tonight. So
Wow, thank you.
I have 4 honorable mentions. One of them is the Sugar Ray album, which I didn't love all of it, but me and Kim met at Pete's birthday party, which we talked about. And this album was one that was out and we listened to a lot. And it's got a great, great song, Personal Space Invader, one of the best 90s songs.
You're right, Brad.
Oh,
Tin Man,
thank you.
Kenny Chesney.
The Austin Powers Spy Who
Alrighty.
Shagged Me soundtrack is really good. It's got a great REM song. It's got Lenny Kravitz. It's got a lot of good songs on it.
Mm-hmm.
Californication, I have honorable mention. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I loved still at that time. I have fallen out of favor with them big time since. Like, I can't even listen to them anymore hardly. But at the time I did. And here's one that'll surprise you. The Dixie Chicks, Fly. That was a good album.
Oh yeah, Courtney listened to that one quite a bit.
Top 5. I mentioned in the movie one, Magnolia, top 5 movie. The Amy Mann soundtrack is a top 5 soundtrack, and it's all Amy Mann, but there's so many good songs on it.
Save Me.
Yep. And
Or It's Not Going to Stop. That's the one they sing
that-
in the movie.
that's not the name of it, but I can't think of the
Yeah,
name. But
I
yeah,
know.
that one.
Or is it called Wise Up?
Wise Up and Save Me. Those two songs are incredible.
Yep.
Number 4, I have the Counting Crows, This Desert Life. That was a great Counting Crows album. Number 3, Fountains of Wayne, Utopia Parkway. This was their second album, the one before Stacy's Mom, but I've loved them from the very beginning. Number 2, Wilco, Summer Teeth, which might be my favorite Wilco album, but I just overplayed it and played it over and over again. I love it. And then number 1, of course, was the Foo Fighters. A lot of good albums.
Well, so there's definitely a unique moment in music from this year, and I'm just going to read something real quick so that you can, and this will never be replicated. When the pawn hits the conflicts, he thinks like a king, what he knows, throws and blows. When he goes to the fight, and he'll win the whole thing, for he enters the ring. There's nobody to batter when your mind is your might. So when you go solo, you hold your own hand, and remember that depth is the greatest of heights. And if you know where you stand, then you know where you land. And if you fall, it won't matter because you'll know that you're right. Do you know what that is?
No idea what's happening.
That was a poem that Dave wrote in 3rd grade.
That is the title. Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh,
actually.
is that a Limp Bizkit title?
That is the title to Fiona Apple's album that year.
Oh.
Often abridged to When the Pawn.
Yep.
But yeah, I was going down the list of albums and I'm like, oh yeah, that overindulgent piece of crap.
I got confused with the ridiculous Limp Bizkit title. The hot
Chocolate
dog
starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Yeah, not quite as long, but equally ridiculous.
Yes, equally ridiculous. Yes, especially if you get it explained to you. All right, here's what I'll say. When I look at music this year, this is all about young Dave dying and new Dave being born into things. So there is so much stuff that came out from bands that I liked this year that like I was done with them at this point. Like Stone Temple Pilots came out with number 4. Sour Girl's a cool song, but like, so there's, I'll just rattle these off real quick. 9 Inch Nails, The Fragile, never owned it. Bush, The Science of Things. Rat came out with an album. GNR came out with an album. Def Leppard, Queensryche, Public Enemy, Warren G had one. Digital Underground. These are all genres that I was into.
The old
and
Dave
I
is
kind of just,
dead.
and I just kind of put them behind me. So I do have, like, when I looked at it, I was like, well, there are 8 albums here that I really, really liked at this time. Number 8, Incubus, Make Yourself. It's got Pardon Me, Stellar, Drive on there. Korn had an album called Issues. Falling Away From Me, Make Me Bad were the 2 big songs on there. Eminem, the Slim Shady LP. I was a huge Eminem fan. Not quite at this point, but yeah, I liked My Name Is too. Mm-hmm. Red Hot Chili Peppers, same. I kind of agree with you, but I did love the video to Californication. Before I get into the last 4, South Park had their movie soundtrack was this year with like Blame Canada, Uncle Blanker stuff. And then
Uncle Blanker.
Uncle Blanker.
That would have been a better song.
Going. Anyway, going.
Blanker.
If this kind of talks about like the transition of where I was a few years ago and then to where I was at this point, Adam Sandler had an album out at this point called Stan and Judy's Kid. His first couple albums were like a big deal to me, as was like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. At this point, he's making, I think he's about to make Little Nicky. And on this album, there is the Hanukkah song part 2. I couldn't have rolled my eyes harder reading this. I was like, oh my God, yeah, anyway. All right. Number 4, Limp Bizkit, Significant Other, with your favorite song.
Break Stuff.
Break Stuff.
Nice.
Then my top 3, Blink 182, Enema of the State. That's one I listen to with Kai Ming all the time, even now. Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. Outside of the Foo Fighters, that's her other favorite band. And then the Foo Fighters, number 1.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that concludes our marathon recording session. Unless anybody has anything else to add.
It's coming out in 2 weeks, so to the listener, it's not quite the marathon it was for you.
No.
Well, no, but
hopefully the listener would like even more Foo Fighters talk.
Pete, could I like come over to apply some chafing stick to you?
Yeah.
Marathon joke.
Yeah.
All right. How about a little Preacher Row for you? Huh?
All right. That was
Ah,
really
like
therapeutic to do that. I'm glad you all did it with us. Dave, thanks for joining. It was
Good.
fantastic.
Yes,
Well done.
great to see
You're
you.
welcome
guys.
Thanks for
back.
having me, man.
As always, you're
Yes.
welcome back anytime.
Yep.
Anytime.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'd say there's
All right.
nothing left to lose, fellas.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Bye.
See ya.
Standing on my own 2 feet. No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your song is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. And start to me on my path. I turn it up to you. I'm scared but there's nothing I can